Beaverton, Oregon, 2007. A young couple suffers a heartbreaking tragedy.
It'll be all right.
The loss of their unborn child. Karina Roberts already has 2 children from previous relationships. But the 26-year-old wants a child with her current man.
Karina's relationship with her boyfriend had been going on for about 5 years at that time. She had 2 children with different people, a daughter who was 10 and a son who was 6.
Her boyfriend didn't have any children, and they had talked about wanting to have children.
She fears without a baby, she may lose her relationship. Her boyfriend is a loving man to her children. But Karina knows he wants a baby of his own.
She wanted a baby, and I think she wanted it to bond with the man she was living with.
In November 2008, Karina is blessed with not 1 tiny miracle, but 2.
Twins.
You're joking.
And from that time on, all throughout the next 6 months, she had started gathering baby items such as clothing, outfits.
An excited Karina takes her news to the streets.
What are you up to? I'm pregnant. That's wonderful.
Karina's self-esteem was pretty much completely tied to being a mother, specifically to being pregnant.
In the nearby city of Portland, the joy of a new baby is filling Heather Snively's life too. She and her fiancé have just moved to the area to start a new life.
Heather Snively was a happy 21-year-old expectant mother.
Oh. I love it.
Put it on.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay.
She was very excited to be a mom. By all accounts, she was putting a lot of energy and focus into preparing for this birth, setting up the baby's room, just getting everything ready.
Oh. Not long now, darling.
Excited.
Everything was about the baby at that point.
Both Heather and Karina turn to the internet for their baby shopping.
We know that that's how she ended up connecting with Karina.
The 2 of them soon get chatting.
They shared some of the same interests. She and Karina became pretty good friends.
She's invited me to go shopping with her on Friday.
The expectant moms have so much in common, they click in the real world too.
I can't believe how cheap some of that stuff was. It was so good stuff.
They met up several times to exchange items.
Good.
But one of these 2 moms has a secret that no one could ever imagine.
She had her tubes tied shortly after the birth of her 2nd child.
Karina couldn't get pregnant, so she did everything she could to convince her boyfriend that she was, in fact, capable of having a child.
She has faked a miscarriage and now a pregnancy.
Karina had made up the story about being pregnant in 2007 and then again in 2008. Karina and her boyfriend had a pretty stressed and rocky relationship. She used the lie of pregnancy to hold that relationship together because it was fulfilling something in her relationship that she was attempting to keep together.
And her deception works.
Karina was a very good actress when it came to playing the part of a pregnant woman. And she had her boyfriend fooled.
Until Karina's due date closes in. Karina needs twins, and she needs them now.
It's basically time for her to produce.
Beaverton, Oregon, 2008. 27-year-old mother of two, Karina Roberts, tells the world she is expecting twins. News her live-in boyfriend has been yearning for. Online, Karina bonds with pregnant women,
Oh! This woman says she knows where to get bargains.
including 21-year-old Heather Snively.
Karina met with Heather on several occasions. They went out and looked for baby items.
June 5th, 2009, Karina arranges another shopping trip with Heather.
I'm going shopping today with that woman I met online.
I'll see you tonight.
Heather's fiance, Chris, gave Heather a hug and a kiss goodbye, told her he loved her and he was excited to see her after work. And then as he was leaving, he turned around, came back and gave her another hug and kiss and just said he just felt like he needed to be close to her.
Karina invites Heather back to her home.
His little piggy.
She was able to gain enough confidence and get her to come inside the home.
Do you mind if I use the bathroom? No. Okay. No, it's first on the left.
Heather has no idea what is in store. Karina's phantom pregnancy is about to get real.
While they were both inside the residence alone, Karina was able to get a collapsible ass baton and had a metal tip on the end of it. She was able to somehow attack Heather with that baton by striking her in the head.
There were multiple blows to Heather's head from the baton.
She was struck 15 to 30 times, mostly in the back of the head.
Heather tries to save her life and her unborn baby.
She had some defensive wounds. She had cuts to her right breast and abdomen. She had bite marks on her right arm.
But the heavily pregnant woman is no match for Karina.
Heather died trying to save her unborn baby, and the evidence of that is all over Karina's house.
The baby was removed from Heather's body but never took a breath.
She calls her boyfriend.
She was crying hysterically, sounded very upset, and sounded like she was in pain.
I need you.
Karina's boyfriend came home. He found her laying in the bathtub, holding what he believed to be his newborn child. He realized the baby wasn't breathing. Karina's boyfriend called 911.
My girlfriend's just had twins. One of them's born. It's not breathing.
Paramedics arrived and got her to the hospital within 10 minutes. It was very quick.
But there is a dreadful hole in Karina's story. She is supposed to be expecting twins.
They put a heartbeat monitor on Karina, and they found no heartbeat of a second baby. They then conducted an examination And the doctor told Karina that she had not given birth. And Karina argued with the doctor, saying that that's not true and that she had given birth at home. The doctor was suspicious of Karina's behavior at the hospital. She was not acting as a normal mother would.
Suspicious medical staff alert the police. A frantic search begins for the real mother, starting at Karina's house.
Police found bloody footprints and smears. They found a lot of blood in the bathroom, and then eventually a large pool of blood leading into the crawl space.
And when they opened the crawl space, they found Heather Snively inside.
It's not unusual for someone planning a murder to not pay attention to what happens after the murder. And that's usually where they get caught.
The deception is over. Karina is guilty of murder, but only one count.
There was nothing to indicate that the child had been alive or had taken a breath.
As a result of this murder, there was a change in legislation which made it aggravated murder to kill a pregnant woman. And the sentence for that is life in prison with no chance of parole.
In 2010, Karina Roberts is sentenced to life, never to be released.
People's first thought is, well, she must be crazy. But when you're around Karina, she seems completely normal until you put her into the context of what she did to Heather, and then she becomes a monster.
Bless you for helping us.
If a woman has powerful friends
Come, baby. Mommy loves you.
and a perfect cause,
She thought she was God.
a sinner can become a saint.
She ran a house of horrors.
Memphis, Tennessee, in the 1940s. Babies filled Georgia Tan's life for decades. The 49-year-old goes down in history as the mother of modern adoption.
Prior to the early 20s, adoption was very, very uncommon in the United States. When Georgia started, she saw herself as the savior of these unwanted or neglected or abandoned children.
Georgia gives the babies a second chance by finding them good homes.
Don't get this one ready. Yes, ma'am.
Bringing happiness to childless couples.
She was getting orders for adoption from every state in the country and from Canada and England.
Hello.
Georgia is the angel of Hollywood.
So lovely to meet you. Lovely to meet you too. Come on in.
Some of its brightest stars flock to her orphanage.
A lot of people have heard about Joan Crawford's adoptions. Those were Georgia Tan babies. June Allison and Dick Powell had a Georgia Tan baby.
Movie stars loved her. She was, to most people, a paragon of virtue.
These babies need all the help that they can get. It's the least I can do.
Georgia's good work is lauded by politicians, from governors to presidents.
She was invited to President Truman's inaugural.
I'm so excited to meet our baby.
Eleanor Roosevelt consulted her regarding child welfare.
Oh, look.
She was considered almost a saint.
She had politicians in her pocket. She had doctors in her pocket. She had judges in her pocket.
For 30 years, no one knows Georgia's true story because no one asks where the babies come from. Georgia simply steals them from the most vulnerable.
They would look for unwed mothers, mothers who had possibly lost a husband. And she just literally took the baby.
She preyed on anyone who was down and out, had hard luck.
Georgia Tan didn't just act like she was God. She thought she was God.
George?
She was the only one
George!
that knew what was right for any of these children or any of these families.
George! You're here.
Georgia recruits women known as baby pickers to do most of her dirty work.
Your baby is seriously ill.
Oh, we can't afford a doctor.
And she found her child was sick, and parents said, well, we don't have money for a doctor. She said, don't worry.
Don't worry, we will get a doctor for your baby.
I'll take your child. I'll take care of it.
Bless you for helping us.
And by that means, she obtained that child.
Oh, my baby.
We'll let you know how things go.
Thank you. Bye, baby. Mommy loves you.
The mothers never see their babies again.
And then they would come back 2, 3, 4 days later and say, oh, I'm sorry. Baby Jane died, and we buried her for you.
Some skeptical parents go to the authorities, but soon find out the system is on Georgia's side.
There were judges who ruled against parents who wanted to get their children back. There were policemen who ignored mothers and fathers who rushed to the police station to say that their child had been kidnapped.
Babies robbed from the poor to give to the rich make Georgia a very wealthy woman.
We can never thank you enough.
It's the least that I could do.
This was a money-making business, and these children were properties.
Thank you so much.
Once she had a taste of the money she could make, that became all-consuming. The children were a means to an end.
Childless couples think Georgia's a savior. But there is no maternal blood running through her veins.
Leave him a while longer.
She didn't care about any of those children. Sometimes she didn't think they should have water. She often drugged infants so that they wouldn't cry. She was a monster.
Soon, Georgia's inaction will have the most catastrophic consequences.
Georgia Tan is one of the most despicable excuses for a human being that ever walked on the earth.
In the 1940s, in Memphis, Tennessee, Georgia Tan's adoption work is admired by the rich and powerful.
Somebody do their job and shut those babies off.
But Georgia has two faces and no heart.
They didn't like it when babies cried. They didn't like it when babies soiled themselves. They didn't like it that babies needed to be fed.
The lucky babies are adopted, but no one protects the infants Georgia deems not fit for sale.
He's too scrawny. No one will want him. Take him down to Nancy's.
If a child seemed to have no market value, she had no problem with disposing of that child.
Hi, Maureen. So, number one, come on in.
Rejected babies are farmed out to untrained caregivers.
Some of them were ne'er-do-wells that starved the kids, beat the kids.
Would you like tea? No, I'm all right, thank you.
The conditions were intolerable. Sometimes they were malnourished, sometimes they weren't fed at all.
One of Georgia's caregivers does the unthinkable. She deals with crying babies by leaving them outside.
Won't be needing that.
I don't think Georgia cared that babies died. There were more out there to get.
Georgia's adoption business is booming. The orphanage is packed to the rafters with sellable babies.
The children were crowded together in cribs, 4 or 5 children in a crib. If one child was sick, soon all the children would be sick.
When a dysentery outbreak hits Memphis in 1945, it spreads from baby to baby.
I'll take care of that.
Georgia, these babies need to be separated from the sick ones.
Her own doctor was saying this gastrointestinal disease that's going on here is causing diarrhea, and this is going to kill the children. She didn't care.
Medicine can save the babies.
Get this filled fast.
I know what's best.
But Georgia refuses to give them any.
They let Mother Nature take its course, and if the child got well, it was good. If not, they died.
In just 2 months, 50 tiny lives are lost.
The Memphis infant mortality rate soared to the highest in the nation.
Georgia Tan is one of the worst child killers I've ever studied because she had education, money, and power.
There's a lot more innocent blood on Georgia's hands.
No one is actually sure of how many children died over the years with Georgia. The estimates tend to run in the area of 500.
Which would make her the most prolific female serial killer in history.
They'll remember me as the mother of adoption.
Georgia's reputation remains intact until the day she dies of cancer in 1950, a multi-millionaire.
The most shocking thing about this crime is that she was allowed to get away with it.
The nation mourns the mother of adoption. But with her death, her secrets are finally exposed.
The orphanage was forcibly closed down. But the question remains, how many innocent lives had she taken? And how many people were scarred by coming under the influence and control of Georgia Tan?
She was a cold-hearted psychopath. No empathy, no remorse, no guilt. A user and abuser of other people. She ran a house of horrors.
Halloween, a day of harmless pranks and costumes.
She was wearing weird makeup and stuff like that, painting her fingernails black.
A time to indulge demons.
Page after page of spells and curses and charms.
And dark forces.
Some of the darkest, evilest things you can imagine.
A busy weeknight in Hagerstown, Maryland, 2006.
Hi, honey.
Dad's home. So I didn't A my biology assignment.
Billy Black and his family come together to share their day.
He was very loving and caring.
Looks wonderful.
He would ask the kids how their day went and how my day went.
On another date,
His family come first.
where he takes all the girls.
Teenage daughter, Danielle, is the apple of her daddy's eye.
We talk about a girl in junior high who was getting A's, getting B's, playing the trumpet. She was a good girl.
A dedicated student until she hits high school. Then everything changes. Danielle is drawn into the insular world of goth. Now she follows their rules, not her family's.
She just told her daddy all kinds of lies, and he just couldn't trust her no more.
What her parents don't know that she's doing are some of the darkest, evilest things you can imagine.
Danielle's rebellion is now experimenting with erotic extremes.
Danielle loved nothing better than to cut herself while having sex and to drink that blood. Now, what does that tell you about this 15-year-old's mind? It tells you that that mind is so twisted, so dark, that anything is possible.
Good luck with that.
Her father is desperate.
Where the hell have you been?
Out with my friends.
Why didn't you?
He said, I don't know what's wrong with her. He said, I try to help her, but she don't want my help.
Off of my arm.
Billy was just being a good father. He was putting borders, guidelines, and restrictions on a young teenage girl.
15-year-old Danielle is slipping from her father's grasp. And everything he does to try and get her back leads to more resentment.
I think she hated him.
He pushed me through a window.
No way.
And then he locked me out of the house for hours.
That's so wrong, man.
At school, she tells outrageous lies about her father.
I don't know how you could live with that.
I can't. Not for much longer.
Danielle set out on a path to destroy her father's reputation, to make it look like he was victimizing her, brutalizing her, and beating her.
Here, show them down.
It was all lies.
Her friends buy her story, but one takes a special interest. Fellow goth, Alec Agar. He comes from an abusive background.
I know what it's like to feel helpless.
Alec was damaged goods. He had been sexually violated by more than one person when he was a young boy.
All I could think about was protecting her.
Around town, Alec is known as the Protector.
You gotta protect those that can't protect themselves, right?
This is exactly what Danielle was looking for. Alec was the bomb, and Danielle lit the fuse.
A depraved bonfire party in Hagerstown, Maryland, in the fall of 2008. Danielle Black has befriended tough guy Alec Agar, and she knows exactly how to push his buttons.
Danielle begins to hear these stories from Alec that he was an abused child. So what does she do? She uses that, spins it for her own benefit.
Your dad did this to you?
Yeah.
I can't let this happen to you.
He was going to confront Mr. Black about this and put an end to it.
So you'll help me?
Yeah.
In Alec's eyes, Billy Black becomes this monster that needs to be taken off the face of the earth.
October 31st, 2008. Billy Black is up bright and early.
Oh, I made you a tea.
No time, honey. I'm running late for work. Bye. Love you.
Love you too.
Danielle has planned a Halloween the family will never forget.
He came in and kissed me and told me he loved me and left, and that's the last I seen of him.
He walks out the door that day to what? To Alec waiting for him.
This was not an easy murder. Alec was really killing someone else. Alec saw Billy as every man who had ever hurt him in the past. And he was going to make Billy pay for the sins of others.
Danielle was watching out the window when he was murdered. She wanted her father killed because he wouldn't let her do what she wanted to.
What's going through Danielle's mind at that moment was everything that I planned for, everything that I want in life. It's gonna happen now.
Alec tries to cover his tracks by making the murder look like a mugging gone wrong. When police discover the body, they are stumped.
Billy Black was a person that was known to be a hardworking person, that he was known not to have any enemies. His wallet was missing, so robbery was a potential motive. But at that point, it's truly a whodunit.
I was just destroyed. I didn't know what to think. How could this happen? What am I going to do without him?
Danielle's secret stays between her and her father's killer until she lets something slip at the funeral.
Here's her daddy laying dead, and she said, Now I can laugh. She said, but I got to behave myself for a while.
Police find out Danielle has asked others to kill for her.
It depends.
I'm asking you as a friend.
The school chums had heard her talk about, wanting someone to kill her father.
Forget it.
While you don't want to think of a 15-year-old girl as a suspect in a murder, there weren't any others.
It is not long before Alec is questioned.
The most important evidence against Alec Ager came from Alec Ager himself. They offered him a polygraph, and he agreed to take it, and then he confessed.
Alec Agar is convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. Danielle is found guilty of murder, but the verdict is overturned. In 2012, Danielle pleads guilty to solicitation of murder and is sentenced to life, with all but 6 years commuted.
There's only one person responsible for the murder of Billy Black, and that's his daughter, his own flesh and blood.
Danielle is now eligible for parole in 2015.
She's a very cold-hearted person. She has no remorse. And she doesn't care about anybody.
She ran into a young, troubled man that thought he was protecting her. He's serving life in prison. In the end, it was beauty that killed the beast.